Hi, my name is Josh Brereton. I'm an SEO specialist here at Oozle Media, and today is the internet's 25th birthday.
AOL, dial-up, AIM chat, Royal Pain 715, hot pink Comic Sans.
I don't even know, it would just beep and go just the white noise. That's all I remember.
What was that dial-up? It was like dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee. Something like that.
What's most earth-shattering to me is that I'm 6 days older than the internet.
Will forever be burned in my brain, the sound of dial-up with the round, 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 the white noise, and just always hearing that classic, "You've got mail," come across the screen. So, and I remember during that time I had my first experience with chatting with people as well. My username at the time was Romeo, and I remember talking with Juliet and just being so ecstatic that I could make a friend. And she thought it was awesome too. So a couple of fun experiences with the internet at a young age.
I think the first time I used the internet was probably in middle school. I remember learning about it in computer lab, and I thought it was really cool that I could download images and stuff and save them to my floppy and take them to my home computer where we didn't have the internet hooked up at home.
Man, the first time I ever saw the internet, I was one of those few people who saw the internet before it was AOL or one of those places. I went over to my friend's house and his nerd dad was on the computer in a text-based, it was like literally green text on like that dark background on the CRT tube. And he was talking with somebody in California. He was connected to another computer on the other side of the country talking about RAM that he was gonna get that his wife would let him get if he lost 15 pounds or something like that.
I just remember asking my parents' permission after dinner, can I unplug the phone line so no phone calls can come through so that I can use the internet.
Remember, probably my memories are mostly before the internet, back when my mom had just rows and rows of encyclopedias and it took hours to get a report done, and you'd sit on the ground with your books spread all out trying to get all the information that you possibly could. And then the same thing through college, you know, all your research had to be done through books. And then when the internet came out, I remember buying our first computer and my son actually being way better at it after 3 days than I was. And probably because I was old enough that I was so nervous to try anything. But
congratulations to the internet, high five, being 25. Got you by a few years, about 23 years on you. So my first memory of the internet, so I was working at an advertising company, interesting, and I was meeting with our graphics designer and he showed me this new thing that he found on his computer to find like images. And he went into the address bar and typed in like www dot something or another, and all of a sudden these images started showing up on his computer. It was the craziest thing ever. Up until then you had to buy these little discs and you'd upload them into your computer and then you could get photos. And so I went to my computer and tried it and it didn't work, and I had no idea why. Well, because my computer wasn't hooked up to the internet. So of course it would never work. But that was my memory a long, long time ago. It was after floppy disks, I remember that. So computers were a little bit faster.
Really, I grew up with the internet. I don't have many memories of it coming to me. It was just there since I was born.
So the first time I used the internet was in 1994. I was in 8th grade and I went to my best friend's house after school, and we logged into AOL, and she had an email account, and so I remember hearing the words, "You've got mail," and it was really exciting. And we mainly used the internet back then for chat rooms to meet guys, and email was just simply a way of keeping in touch back then. And because I was only 13, that's all I used it for. And the funny thing is, 20 years later, I don't think it's really changed much. I still use it for the same thing.
So my first memory of the internet was when I was in 6th grade and my boyfriend wanted me to email him. And so I gave him my email and he never emailed me back. And I totally sent him a Hotmail email and he didn't respond. And it was the most embarrassing thing of my life because all my friends were waiting around me looking for that email to enter my inbox and it never came. And it was so disappointing. berryfairy23@earthlink.net.
My internet experience begins at a young age, and I'm old, so that's extra special. My dad has been involved in the internets, and I actually have chat logs from when I was 3. He was actually working at a college, so I got to log on and use LAN networking, and I was doing some cool searches on Alta Vista for Yo Mama jokes.
Yours just sounds like a sad, lonely robot.
Isn't that what we all are?
I've always had internet, so always.
My first email address is really embarrassing. It was sweetheart007@hotmail.com.
Princess Cyber Chick.
Yeah, the first time I've ever been on the internet was at school, actually. It was in junior high. It just shows how old I am. My teacher showed us, like, this is called the internet. And I'm just like, what? This is probably a fad, it's gonna go away, you know? Just like Pogs, you know, if you guys remember Pogs from the 90s. Yeah, it's just a fad. I was so wrong. Here I am, I don't know, 30 years, 25 years later, and work for the internet every day, so. But yeah, it was just crazy. You had to hook up a phone line and hear that sound, you know, and then go online, check sports scores. It's fun when you go on Wayback Machine, you can see what the internet used to look like from like 95. And
it was something along the lines of something like that. And I remember getting my first Juno account, email account, and then I got a random pen pal in Alaska. That was fun for a couple months, and then we stopped emailing each other, but it was really cool at the time.
You have to log on to the internet. Let's see, the first time that I opened a web browser, it's Mozilla Firefox, because my dad was obsessed with it for some reason. And I was probably 3. And I really didn't know what to search for other than emails, because that's all my parents ever looked at. But I would always try to do online gaming with my brother, but we'd always have to wait for my mom to get off the phone because we still had dial-up, even though broadband was out. But we were behind the times. And then you'd go online, and it'd be joyous. But it was really slow.
The most profound thing that sticks out in my head about the internet is the day that I got a cell phone. And that moment when you had turned on the internet and realized that 1 megabyte of data was equivalent to that of my tuition cost. And my mom was gonna kill me for using data on my phone.
I merely adopted the internet. I was born in it.
Is that good? Then you're there.